Son 3.000 las hectáreas que están inundadas en la sabana de Bogotá. Para que ustedes se lleven una idea, esa área equivale a 5.000 veces el estadio del Campín.
Agua. Eso es lo único que hoy queda en el sector conocido como El Playón, ubicado en zona rural del municipio de Mosquera. Según los pobladores, el lugar más afectado luego de que el río Bogotá se saliera de madre y lo inundara todo. El problema es que las lluvias no paran y según las autoridades existe el riesgo de que el río Bogotá se vuelva a desbordar en cualquier momento.
In recent years, Colombia has experienced a growing economy and accelerated development. The internal and external migrations have put a lot of pressure on the main urban hubs of the country. The city of Bogotá has reflected this demographic pressure on the peripheries, where urbanization and industrialization has accelerated quickly, occupying valuable agricultural land. The municipality of Mosquera, situated at the west of the Bogotá Metropolitan District, has become an epicenter of urban development. Characterized by its valuable agricultural land and industrial activity, Mosquera is part of the Romara Irrigation District. The complex network of canals that cross the land is the most distinctive feature of the site, doubling as a flood control system. The water that flows through the canals of the savannah comes from the Wali wetlands and the upper basin of the Bogotá River, feeding 5 main canals that run north to south. The collecting canals cross from east to west, defining the rural grid that characterizes the site and configuring the savannah as a man-made wetland. The canals also have a severe impact on the mobility of the site. Below Calle 13, which splits the municipality in two, the rural roads alongside the watercourses penetrate into the site, with many dead ends and private bypasses that create a fragmented network. Equally important is the presence of the rivers. The Bogotá River, running through the east and the south border of the site, receives the water of the system in its union with the Valsilla River, which defines the west border. Not only the rivers confine the site, but their large floodplains towards the south and the borders create high-risk zones that must be protected. With all this in mind, we generated a global plan consisting of 3 main objectives. First, to protect and recover the ecosystems of the savanna, redefining the relationships of the inhabitants with the water and keeping the agricultural nature of the site. Second, to overcome the lack of connectivity in the municipality, providing a network of corridors and connections within the savanna and the rest of the city to enhance mobility. And finally, to inhabit the savanna in a more horizontal relation with its ecosystems, using water and public space as a catalyzer to dilute segregation and promote new ways of living. In order to achieve these objectives, the already existing features of the site became pivotal in the development of the territorial strategy. Following the main canals, the plan proposes a network of transversal and parallel corridors to help guide development and enhance connectivity. With large protected areas that seek to keep urbanization of the floodplains, development is oriented towards the Calle 13 and the parallel corridors. An agroforestry area in the middle aims to articulate the eastern and western developments, while providing room for institutional presence in the area. Having defined a territorial strategy, the visualization through collage helped define the spatial quality of the project. Naturally, the integration of water into public space was a prominent feature of these explorations. Visiting the experience from cities such as Lincoln, Rotterdam, and Houston, we were able to conceptualize a comprehensive strategy surrounding water. An holistic approximation to water became fundamental to achieve a more harmonic and resilient way of living in the savanna. Aiming for the spatial qualities of water, each of these strategies breaks down in landscape and architectural techniques. Going beyond traditional notions of infrastructure, this vision aims to create experiences surrounding water, enhancing resilience, sustainability, and recovering the ecosystems of the savanna. These are reduced to three operations in the urban morphology of the site: to restrict, to terraces, to embrace with platforms, and to hold with basins. The combination of these interventions allows for the conceptualization of a new, more resilient urban landscape that is complemented by a robust water infrastructure.
Before any intervention, taking a closer look of the morphology of the site was necessary. The self-constructed patches are characterized by their high density and lack of public space. The private developments are usually isolated, with density ranging from high-rise multifamiliar buildings to country villas. The industrial activity concentrates towards the Calle 13 and the Bogotá River, with agricultural facilities are also spotted in the heart of La Sabana. These activities are usually linked to junkyards, which are prone to spontaneous development. The lack of urban facilities and institutions is also evident, with very few schools and universities scattered in the territory. Incorporating structure into the territory, the main corridors connect pre-existing features, enhancing the canals and defining the foundations of the mobility system. The different natures of the corridors answer to the conditions of the site and their role within the plan. These corridors incorporate different landscaping milestones and pieces of infrastructure, bringing people closer to the water. The corridors also scale down the territory into urban islands, creating a more flexible urban fabric. A complementary network is proposed within the islands. The mobility system articulates a network of urban spaces and guides development. This public space network is an integral part of the water management system of La Sabana. To have a better understanding of the urban fabric within this structure, we took a closer look to two different sectors in the plan. The first sector, located toward the north, aims to explore the transitive conditions between the proposed development and the pre-existing features of the site. The second sector explores the borderline conditions of the proposed urban expansion, where the high density of canals and the intense flood risk represents both a challenge and an opportunity. In the north, developing alongside the west margin of the Bogotá River represents an important flood risk. The water developments, built over terraces, create a physical barrier which conducts runoff water towards the basin in the center of the urban island. The flood prevention system of the site incorporates a combination of open spaces and urban facilities designed to withstand and absorb water. This system not only reduces the risk of flooding, but also helps to spatially integrate the pre-existing features of the site with the rest of the proposal. A closer look into the urban islands clarifies the morphology of the place. Low-rise buildings create the protective belt of the site, elevating the ground level against the river. The self-constructed habitats take advantage of this protection, developing towards the center of the islands and incorporating water infrastructure and public space. Habitating the new basins, the progressive housing solutions allow for different ways to interact with water. This diverse urban fabric is complemented by a set of urban facilities and open spaces that are integral to the water infrastructure of the city. This public space system articulates the different stages of development, offering gathering points and invaluable open space for the community to interact and get closer to the water. All these elements come together to create an unique, resilient urban landscape. The interaction between the large-scale territorial interventions and the different pieces of water infrastructure generates new spatial experiences in La Sabana. The urban frontier takes place closer to the southern margin of the Bogotá River, also dealing with high flood risk. In this site, the strategy is similar, creating a flood buffer towards the borders and a network of basins to distribute runoff water. Despite being the same strategy, the different pre-existing conditions allows for a more atomized system, diluting the risk in a more homogeneous way and bringing water deeper into the urban fabric. In the urban fabric, different ways of approaching water take place. The communities, the cloister-like structure embrace the medium in different ways, involving productivity and water infrastructure into their core. Also, more ground developments take place toward the main corridors, creating horizontal experiences towards the mobility system, enhancing interaction. Big promoters of community interactions are the public spaces. Deeply integrated to the urban facilities, these pieces of infrastructure offer different ways to get closer to the water. But the urban facilities fit roles beyond interaction and integration, without leaving behind their role in the water management scheme. These can also become important attractors of activity, promoting development and positioning Mosquera as a new centrality. Once again, articulating these approaches of life alongside water offer a different perspective of the future developments of La Sabana. Learning to preserve this medium is vital for the emerging communities of Mosquera and the recovery of its ecosystems. The development of these strategies aim to offer a possible way for development and urbanization in such an unique place. Embracing and exalting the features of the site could be key for the future of La Sabana. Providing a setting for healthy and diverse urban development, water can play an important role washing away the walls of segregation and inequality. Thank you.